Good morning from Nazareth, a modern city in Israel, Galilee of Israel. It's a beautiful day, and I'm here alone, not with a group. It's not easy to reach Nazareth. It's not on highway. Then, if you are using your own car, it can take you something like 2.5 hours from Tel Aviv. But I decided not to be dependent on my car. Then I took the train, buses, and here I am together with you. And who am I? That's me. Wait a minute, wait. Hello. That I'm taking a video of him. Then he made the sign of peace. Then here I am visiting the city of Jesus. He was here more than 30 years. Most of his life, but we don't know a thing about his life here. Sad. I mean, think about it. We know about the angel Gabriel. We know about Mary. We know about a little bit about Joseph, but that's it. We know that he's been here again when he was around 30. When he went to the synagogue, remember that story? But we don't know about his life. And this is a little bit sad for me, if you ask me. I would be happy to go back in time to reach the time of Jesus. Then, let's cross the road. And it might be a long story, a long video. I don't know. You know, I know what I want to do. But you know, the city, the view, the church is stronger than me, and he is stronger than me too. It's around 30 degrees today, quite okay, I must say. And about a few days from now it's going to be around 40 degrees, then we are happy. But you saw the church of the Annunciation, you saw the house of Mary. Don't worry, we will reach it. But that place in front of us is a mosque. Not so clean, as you can see. Look at the birds. But that is still a mosque. Oh, look how beautiful it is. So quiet here. There are around 80,000 people here. Most of them are Muslims. Less than 30% are Christians. About Christianity in the Holy Land, it's around 2%, even less than that. Then that city is around 30% of Christians. Then it's not a majority, but it's a big minority. Very important one. What's happening here? That was supposed to be the main entrance to the church. But when they decided to do that around 2000, the Muslims here discovered that was a very important tomb of one of the family of Muhammad. Then they decided to build a mosque which will be higher than the church. And in the Middle East, if it's higher, it's better than higher than their church. Took us 6 years in court that decide at the end that the Christian won't be able to build the main entrance. That place, that square, will be a mosque, but they won't build a mosque here. That square will be like that. This is the only evidence of the mosque. Then on Friday, there are thousands of Muslims who actually are praying here. For so many years, until COVID time, that sign that was the main entrance to the church was about how good you can be as a person, and the only way is to be a Muslim. Thanks God, that something good happened to them, and after COVID they didn't renew it. Then in that case there were 2 signs here. Now it's not there. Now let's go slowly into the church. Not a lot of tourists now in Israel. Maybe it's too hot, maybe it's the economic situation. And there are many shops here. מה שלומך?
מה נשמע?
בסדר גמור. כן, כן, תודה. יום נפלא. One of the salesmen here. And I like the place because of that sign here. מה שלומך? You can see here Yeshua, not Yeshu. The Jews are usually called Jesus, Yeshu, like shortcut, but Yeshua, salvation, is his real name. And that is where the angel told, according to the book of Luke, told Mary that his name will be Jesus. According to the book of Matthew, he told it to Joseph. Mary wasn't so important at that chapter. Look at that mustache. מה שלומך?
אהלן.
טוב לראות אותך.
אהלן וסהלן, מה שלומך?
בסדר גמור. Then we are climbing up. Yeah. No, to get me and another 138,000 followers. ביי. בוקר טוב. בסדר גמור. Then we are climbing up slowly. On the way back we might stop to drink coffee, also oranges. The market is straight ahead. In the market you can see a beautiful dome. This is the synagogue of Jesus. Remember, he entered to the synagogue in Nazareth when he was around 30. Then you can see the dome right there. And we might try to enter there later on. The only problem is that it's mostly closed. It's belonged to the Greek Catholic Church, and we will talk about it soon. But let me describe you how big Nazareth was. That used to be a valley, the road that we are next to it. And there's a beautiful Sister of Zion, and there you can find tombs, Jewish tombs, even with a rolling stone. Then in that case, the Jews have been buried outside the walls. That was outside the city. That was the beginning of the city. And at Crusader time, the church reached that road. You can see some Byzantine / Crusader columns here. The problem is that the sun will be in my eyes now. Then you can see that the church that was built here in 1960, opened at 1969, was built with a wall around it. Here you can see the symbol of the Franciscans. Tells you that this is a Catholic church. For the Christians of us, which are not Catholic, let me remind you that this is one of the biggest churches in the Middle East, and more than that, it's dedicated to Mary. Then when I'm reaching that place with non-Catholic, some of them are a little bit angry at me. Is it okay not to be angry in that video? Because we're actually studying. Yes, that was the place that Jesus grew for 30 years. But the main story in the Bible is about what's happened to Mary here. And this is quite important. Then, let's enter. Let me tell you that they will check your clothes. Then never enter to any church like that. Basilica of the Annunciation. Morning. I love that place. We will talk about the facade. But first, Ukraine. I think it's very important to show you Mary of the Ukrainians. I will go to there to sit in one of the places to be with myself, but on the way you will see so many Marys. Catholic countries and communities donated a lot of beautiful Marys. Some of them are mosaic, some of them are not. And in each one you can see the Mary that dedicated to their place. Then, for example, Nazareth looks like an Arabic woman. It must be, I say, Jewish woman at the time of Jesus. But look at that, Iraq, Bolivia, Andorra. In each one, you can see totally different Marys. That's the Vatican, Ireland, Armenia, Egypt, Singapore, India, Romania, Sperantos, Uruguay, Indonesia, Macedonia, Slovenia. And now they are not. He's guiding now that I don't want to disturb him, but I will stop next to China, and you will see Chinese Mary.
Encore, il y avait des résidus. À partir du 4e siècle, même le samedi passe au dimanche pour les premiers chrétiens. Le jour férié était le samedi jusqu'au début du 4e siècle. À partir du 4e siècle, Constantin, qui rêve de la croix, vous vous rappelez, lui va promouvoir le christianisme et va sacrifier.
Although Mary was a Jewish mother, although she lived here, Mary is now more like an international story. Then in that case, in each place, like Morocco, she looks different than Salvador. And look at Wales and Scotland. What's happened to UK? UK is not a Catholic country. Colombia, Spain, Poland, Italy, Malta, Korea, again, a totally different perspective of the international story of Mary. It's a beautiful church. There's so many things to talk about. So many things to talk about. It's unbelievable. And look at the stained windows. Gosh, it is so beautiful. It is so beautiful. We will talk about the Papa, but you can see Giovanni, San Polo, Benedictus. And this is the Greece. Oh gosh. Melt is actually, I don't know why, but this is melting myself. You can see the love and the mother, love of the mother. And it's a mother that knew that her son will die in front of her eyes. This is so important. San Marino, Italy, Georgia, Paraguay, if you didn't, Austria, sorry. If you didn't see your Mary, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, because this is only part of it. I just wanted to sit here to talk about a little bit what's happened. But look at, well, it's supposed to be a spring, Little Mary, and that looks like a house, isn't it? House that are fronting, all right, to nowhere. But if you look at those three, you might see something else. And this is a very important part of our story. You can see there are more remains of here, and sadly the garden is closed to us. Then let me sit. Before I'll continue, Matthew, this is your job to tell your family, please pay attention. Something miraculous will happen now. In that case, there are two beautiful pictures that I want you to see. This is the first one. Look at how they're smiling. And look at that. Just a beautiful couple. Math. Now your family knows that you tricked them a little bit. We're talking about that couple is Joseph, and for me, the best place to talk about Joseph is here, next to the house of Joseph and Mary, and Elisa Pace. Sadly, they are not with us, and we are waiting for them. We wait until the second coming of Jesus, and then we will meet them again. Then I'm dedicated that tour for them, and I will bless them next to the house of Mary. Now, you know that Nazareth is a big place, and around it, the satellite city, like, for example, Cana. The village of Cana is right here. And the Bible mentioned that it was a city. But at the time of Jesus, we are talking about a small village, really small village. Josephus Flavius, that was a commander of the Galilee area at the time of the revolt between the Romans and the Jews. He mentioned 200 cities, farms, small villages. It didn't mention Nazareth. Nazareth wasn't so important. It wasn't so big at that time. And if we're talking about that, the Bible mentioned Nazareth as a small village or not important place too. Remember, according to the book of John, Philip came to Nathanael at Cana, which is not so far away from here, and he said, we found the Messiah. The Messiah is from where? Philip asked. Nathanael asked. And Philip answered, from Nazareth. And he said, from Nazareth? Can something good come out of Nazareth? Are you kidding? Then it shows you that something, that the place is not so wasn't so important at that time. But let's go to the Bible. We are going to the book of Luke, Luke chapter 1, and that's the story of the birth of Jesus was told after the birth of John the Baptist. In that case, 26, Luke 1:26. In the 6 months of Elizabeth's pregnancy, God sent the angel Gabriel to Nazareth, a town in the Galilee. Now, first of all, we know that the name of that place was Nazareth. We know that it was a town. And what is the 6th month of what? Maybe June. But no, the Bible has got meaning for that. A 6th month is the pregnancy of Elizabeth. It's Gabriel actually met Zechariah at the temple 6 months before, and now she's already pregnant, and we are moving to the story of Nazareth. And Gabriel is the angel that so many met. Let's start with me. My name is Isaac, and Gabriel met me at Mount Moriah when he came to Abraham and said, God trusts you, don't do that. Then Zechariah met Gabriel, and Mary is meeting Gabriel now. Then in that case, a virgin pledged to marry to a man named Joseph, descendant of David. The virgin name was Mary. The angel went to her and said, greeting, you who are highly favored, the Lord is with you. Now, when someone said greetings, we're talking about something very special. If not, you can say hi. Then it's like Eva, Maria. Then in that case, in Hebrew, it's like that, and I think it's even stronger than the English version. Simchi bruchat chesed, Adonai imech. Mary was greatly troubled at his word and wondered what kind of greeting this might be. All right, let's start with that. If an angel would come to me and say greetings or not greetings, I will die immediately. That it wasn't so easy for her as well. But the angel said, "Do not be afraid, Mary. You have found favor with God. You will convince and give birth to a son, and you are to call him Jesus." Now, few problems here. Mary wasn't married. Secondly, Joseph actually took care of her. Thirdly, everyone will expect that the name of the child will be Joseph Jr. But no, Jesus. Now in Hebrew it's not Jesus. In Hebrew it's Yeshua, salvation. And then later on you will understand it. Then in that case, what you will hear now is the promise of God to Mary and to Jesus, not like he actually promised to Elizabeth. Elizabeth, it's kind of a temporary thing, but Jesus will be forever. Then in that case, he will be great and will be called the Son of the Most High. The Lord God will give him the throne of Father David. Then in that case, here it is, a connection to King David. And he will reign over Jacob's descendants. It means Jerusalem forever. Again, forever. His kingdom will never end. This is quite strong, I must say. I'm sitting here because I do have a reason. Then can we do that here? Anyhow, inside the church it will be difficult for me to talk. It will be like that, and people will complain that they don't hear a lot. Then in that case, I can talk about it here. Is it okay to be here with me and for another few minutes? Yes, thank you very much. And the Annunciation. Guys, there are two Annunciations here, not one. Let's listen to them. We are now in 35. The angel answered, and this is the first one. The Holy Spirit will come on you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. So the Holy One to be born will be called Son of God. And this is the second announcement. First, the Holy Spirit will do that, which means God. Second one, it will be the Son of God, and it will name be Jesus. Even Elizabeth, your relative, is going to have a child in her old age, and she, who was said to be unable to convince, is in her 6th month. Now we know the 6th month. Because so many people actually made a mistake and then they say, all right, it was, then if she was convinced, I'm talking about Mary in June, then 9 months from there, you know what I mean. And she answered, which is something so strange. I mean, think about a young woman. Next to her is an angel, and she heard that she will be convinced by the Holy Spirit and by God, and she will carry the Son of God, and she is answering, I am the Lord's servant, Mary answered. May your word to me be fulfilled. Then the angel left her. I am the Lord's servant. In Hebrew, again, it sounds much better. Hineni shifchat Adonai. She is obeying him. It reminds me the story of Hannah and Eli that couldn't convince. I mean, she asked God for that favor, and God answered her, and she said, I will fulfill that mission. And then Samuel, prophet Samuel, was born for her, and he was the servant of God. Before I will continue, I want to go to the Psalm 40, because there is a huge connection to it. Is it okay to stay with me? Because it's already 24 minutes and we didn't enter to the church. I might cut that video into 2 later on. The first one is about what's happened here. Second one is about the church. That Psalm 40. David. Psalm. 6. Sacrifice and offering you did not desire, but my ears you have opened. Burnt offering and sin offerings you did not require. This is beautiful because the Jews used to sacrifice things at the Jewish temple. From the time of Jesus, sacrifice is not part of it. Not by that. Here's you have opened. Then I said, here I am. I have come. It is written about me in the scroll. Wow, that is so strong. I desire to do your will, my God. Your law is within my heart. It looks like Mary is talking, isn't it? It looks like David wrote something about Mary in the future. Proclaim your saving acts in the great assembly. I do not seal my lips, Lord, as you know. This is amazing. And let me just read it for you in Hebrew, if it's okay by you. But I will look at the view of Nazareth. Sadly, the view is green, which is beautiful, but I wanted you to see a little bit more than that. Then, Psalm 40, Tehillim Perek Mem. 6. רבות עשיתי אתה אדוני אלוהי נפלאותיך ומחשבותיך אלינו, אין ארוך אליך אגידה וידברה עצמו מספר זבח ומשנה. לא חפצת אוזניים, קראת לי עולה וחטאת לא שאלת. אז אמרתי, הנה באתי במגילת ספר כתוב עליי, לעשות רצונך אלוהים, חפצתי בתורתך מתוך מאי. This is amazing, because the Bible in Hebrew said, your Bible is from my wound. And here, it's my heart. I think the womb is more, it's stronger. בשרתי צדק, בקהל רב הנה שפתי לא אכלה אדוני, אתה ידעת צדקתך לא כיסיתי בתוך ליבי אמונתך. Mary is not going to the temple. No, remember, we don't need to sacrifice anymore. She will accept the Holy Spirit here in Nazareth. What can I tell you? I love it. I love it. I'm not going to read Matthew 1, mainly because Matthew 1 is kind of the story about how Jesus was born, but the angel revealed Joseph in his dream. Only in his dream. He didn't see him, and he told him to accept the idea that Mary is pregnant. Nazareth wasn't mentioned there. Mary was kind of a secondary figure. It was about her, but she wasn't there. Then in that case, it's a beautiful version, and you can read it by yourself. The book of Luke is a little bit unique because it actually started the story here, but ended the story, especially at the book of Acts, which was written by Luke as well, in Rome, in Europe, outside of Israel. Then, in a way, not so far away, remember their synagogue? That I might go there later on. In a way, he said, Jesus in the synagogue, there's no prophet. I mean, you won't accept a prophet in your city. And he gave so many examples. And then the Jews threw him away from the city. And this is a hill to the valley, which you cannot see, to Precipice, Mount Precipice, which is right there. Why it's important for me? Remember that we started the tour with a little girl, which is right in front of you. And above her, it's a balcony. Look what's written here. Salva Regina Mater. Every, at least Catholic, knows it by heart. Then for me to start the tour here, not inside the church, is so important. Well, it's supposed to be a spring, and the spring is supposed to tell us that Mary, this is one of the names of Mary, the living spring, for example, Fons Amoris, Hortus, but it never functioned. I never saw water here, but that's the idea. We talk about the medallions here of Papa Giovanni, San Paolo II. Who've been here at 2000, and Benedictus. And it actually connected us to the Second Vatican Councils that turned Nazareth into a very special story. They destroyed the church that was built by the Franciscans early, like 100 years ago, and decided to build something big. It's the biggest church ever that dedicated to Mary, I think, in the Middle East. And our two more. This is very important for us because Papa Giovanni, from 1959, he decided to build a church here, and Papa Paolo, San Paolo VI, actually came to here in 1964 when they built the church. Another important thing here is to show you, I know that the sun is in your eyes, a meeting between San Paolo, the Pope, with the Greek Orthodox. There's kind of a unwritten war between dominations. Then in that case, it is so important to see that we are trying, or the Christians are trying, to find a solution for it. It's nice, isn't it? Another thing that I want you to see, and it's like a spear in the heart of non-Catholic, look at the triangles here. Two triangles create one letter. M. Mary, 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 Mary. And you're going to see it everywhere. I don't know if you can hear. There's a master. That amazing door tells us a lot about Mary. For example, you can see the birth of Jesus and the presentation at the temple. The nativity is here as well. The angel is telling Mary, soon, soon. Then Ave Maria, you can see it. Mary at the Golgotha, which is a tragic story. Mother who knew that her son will die in front of her eyes. This is not easy. The first miracle, water and wine. Assumption of Mary, which will be soon. And I'm going to be in one of the churches in that day for you. Mother Ecclesia, the mother of the church. Beautiful door, isn't it? Mary, 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 Mary. Then, let's go to talk about something that I cannot talk about it in the church, especially in the time of the Mass. Because of it, they gave us a present, and let me show it to you. And then we will enter the church. But now you know the story. I think it's such an important place, and it's happened here, and this is the most important thing. It's happened here. All right, let's clean it a little bit. The church is divided into two. Giovanni Muccio, the Italian architect, built it as the Grotto, and the mass that you heard is from the daily church, which is the second church. Then in that case, there's so many things to see here, and I hope that you will be able to see it. Then let's start with that. Here you can see kind of a mikveh. This is a Jewish ritual bath. Let me remind you that the city of Nazareth was a Jewish city and very strict Jewish city. Then the Jews used to purify their body, not their soul. A man is doing it every before Shabbat will enter. A woman will do that a week after she got a period. Then that tells us that that was a Jewish place. That wall, according to the Franciscans, was a wall of the first synagogue of Jews who believe in Jesus. For so many Jews, for example, St. Peter, that was obvious. They were waiting for the Messiah to come. He came, his name was Jesus. Then in that case, they didn't see themselves as something different at the beginning, but the Messiah can. Then in that case, it may be the first of wall of a synagogue that used to be here. That apse is from the 5th century, and it's a Byzantine time. And you can see a few things here. Here, you can see, let me see if you can see it. Yes, you can see it perfectly, but there's a lot of dust. You can see a cross. Until 427, you can put a cross everywhere. But from the 5th century, they decided not to do that anymore. A cross is a cross. Then if you want to use a cross, use it in a perfect way, in a better way. Then we know that that part is before it, not later than the 5th century. Another thing that we can see here is the House of Mary. There are few columns from the Crusader time, columns from the Byzantine time, but this is the house. The house used to be a grotto, a cave, and this is perfect. I mean, if you will travel with me in Israel, we will enter to caves. For example, in Shepherdfield, you can still see the caves. The Bedouins, the wandering people, are still using caves. Then why not use a cave, especially when we know that that village was quite poor village? Then in that case, the House of Mary was there. Sadly, we cannot enter to here because when they curved it out, it tend to be, it's not so safe anymore. Then we will see it from here together with the angel. Gabriel, the angel, never entered to here. And here in the altar, you can see, you will see, and the word became a flesh. John, chapter 1, and the word became a flesh here. And this is the difference. Here, hic, and you will see that word. It's not that I decided. That might be the stairs from the 2nd floor. From the Crusader time, you can see a beautiful wall. And when they came to here, they built it as a fortress. Few Crusaders, Christians, among so many enemies, mostly Muslims. Then this is a new altar, and we will actually make a tour like that. And I hope that we will be able to enter to here. Then a mikveh, a Jewish ritual bath, not later than 5th century floor, a Byzantine church facing to the east, and the most important thing is the House of Mary. Later on, I will climb up to the 2nd story. Let me remind you that we are blessing a beautiful person, a beautiful couple, right here, Joseph and Elisa, please. And if you can bless them, I will be happy, because in September they were supposed to celebrate their anniversary. Then the family will watch it for the first time. I don't know if before or at September, but I will be. They will be very happy to read at the comments something about you and them. And I want you to see something more. For example, remember the square that he turned into a mosque? You can see the mosque here on Friday. I'm trying not to reach with groups here on Friday because it's very crowded, not problematic, too crowded for me. Another thing that I want you to see is the Pope then enter to the house of Mary when he comes to here. Then you already know the house of Mary, but you will remember him as well. And remember that the Catholic themselves destroyed the ancient 18th century church. Then you can see here the church. Then you can actually see that you've been here at the 18th century, and that church that we will enter was built on top of it. I want you to see one more or two more pictures. This is from 1870, and you can see that even at that time, Nazareth wasn't a big place. The most important thing is the church that we are visiting here, and there's another option. Look at that. Then not so big, isn't it? This is the facade of the modern church. What I like here is the three doors that usually was in each basilica at the time of Jesus. Then in that case, if you go to Capernaum, if you will go to other places, you will find basilicas like that. For example, Tapra, the fish and the loaves. Then in that case, you can see the three doors here. Above him, well, not, I'm sure that you will remember him. This is Jesus himself. Jesus, God, Son of God. To the right, you can see Mary, and the angel of Gabriel is right there. The four evangelists is here as well. The symbol of the Franciscans church is right in front of you with the Jerusalem cross, which is so unique to the Holy Land. And from Josiah 7:14. Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, the virgin shall convince and bear a son, and shall call his name. I know that you're shouting now. Emmanuel. God is with us in Hebrew. And if you go to the other side, it's from Genesis 3. Unto woman he said, I will greatly multiply the sorrow and the conception. And from John, it's John 1:14, and this is important. And the Word was made flesh. Here. Then that one is about, in a way, Eve. And at the end of the tour, if you will be with me, you will understand much more important connection between Eve and John, Eve and Mary. Just waiting for Jonathan to finish talking there. And this is a very well-known door. I call it a 3D Bible tour, in a way. But let them take a picture of it. You know what? It's part of the tour. Then look at the corner, left corner up. You can see the birth of Jesus. And then flee to Egypt, but you can actually say it, fleeing to Egypt, but maybe reaching back to Nazareth after Egypt. You can see the three mugs, the nativity itself. You can see the soldiers of King Herod killing the newborn children. And here, Nazareth, that is where Jesus been most of his life. And because we don't have information, we believe that besides being a child, he actually helped his father, carpenter, design. The other side is the John the Baptist, or baptized Jesus, right there. And Sermon on the Mount, but it's not only the Sermon on the Mount, it's more than that. There's so many things that happen at the Galilee area. The end is just above. You can see the crucifixion. Is that the end? No. You can see above it the resurrection. Amazing door, isn't it? And let me take a picture of it. I will upload it to my Facebook account. And if you are reaching that point, I will ask you to subscribe my channel. Why not? You're part of it. If you reach 45 minutes of that video, yes, you can. From the time of Eve, you can see Noah, and you can see me, Abraham and Isaac, right here. Then let's enter to the church, but I won't be able to talk loudly. Then I hope that you will be able to hear me, but that's why actually I was talking about the church outside. The first part will be the grotto, and then the House of Mary, and then we're going to climb up to the first century, the daily church. And you can see here the 5th century mosaic with the crosses. And the Jewish ritual above. And the 1st century wall of the synagogue of the Christians. Byzantine and the House of Mary. Let's go. Get closer, but look at the light. It's reaching from above. Holy Spirit. I was sitting outside that door. So many small chapels. But this is the most important thing. This is the house of Mary. And the Word became flesh. Is here. You can see here a beautiful mosaic from 5th century. And there is another mosaic here. You can see that it was part of the cave, but they curved it out just like they did to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Century wall, Crusader time, that worshipped Mary. That place was sealed, I mean, you couldn't enter to it. Allowed then from that hole, you see, you could put something like a scarf and bless it for you. Another thing that you can see from the other side is that right there. It's the kind of the diacon, kind of a bishop of Nazareth in the 5th century. Canon. We know that it is from his time. Are we ready to climb up? Yes, we are. Look at the beautiful glass windows. It is such a modern church. I really love that church. Menorah, in a way, is here as well. Look at the sun. Entering now to the second floor, which is the daily church. You will see beautiful Marys from the States, from Canada, Japan. The first part you can see here is Jerusalem cross. friends and Canadian, usually when you're looking at that, you actually look at it and say, how it doesn't look so beautiful. It is. It is. Look at the beautiful windows. Spain, it's not the first one. Portugal, been there, done that, beautiful city. USA, yes, I think it's the most beautiful Mary. 3D Mary, I mean beautiful. Poland, Brazil. This part of the church only masses groups can enter, and Joseph, Lisa, and Matt. I will light the candle for you too. Then 3 candles, and you know what? 4 candles. One for everyone who was still watching that video. It's 1 hour video. Gosh, it's a lot. But before that, it's now empty. Then we can see Chinese and Chennai and Peru. Now let me take some money to donate. Then we'll light candles for you. They're starting the mass soon, then it's the best time to actually bless everyone. And Marie doll, Betty, I'm blessing you too by lighting candles for you as well.
Soul.
beautiful thing that I see here is a font from Germany. And I've been invited to here a few times with my friends who lives here, Catholic friends. And the ceremony was beautiful. In one of the most important places in the world. Actually, why not? The most important place in the world. Mother Ecclesia, the mother of the church. For people who've got wheelchairs, there is an elevator to take you. It's not easy to use, but there is an option. And if you think that, I thought that is the end of the tour, then don't, because there's so many things to see. I know that it's a long one. Yes, I know. But I think you've got all or most of the information ever. One thing that I want you to see, that there are still excavations here. There are lots of finds, and you know what? Let me take you there, but we have to wait until that huge group will leave the church. Then let's wait a little bit. Meanwhile, you can see Regina Palestine. This is something that I cannot accept, because Palestine wasn't exist at the time of Mary, but it's okay. I'm not trying to argue with you then. See more of it. And yeah, still crowded. What I want you to see downstairs is the daily life, because what we see here, it's 1960, 1969, but people lived in caves, as I already know. And you can see it right there. I'm sure that above those caves you could find some simple houses, but nothing remained from those simple houses. Then usually the storeroom is there, cattle were there, people lived there and above. Remember the tomb that we started the tour with, which was there? And the ancient city of Nazareth was from here. Let me show you until where.
Thôi cho chuyện tắm đi. Đi đi cô ơi. Rồi vô ba bà luôn.
More or less until here. And if we will excavate a little bit more, can you see the tower there? That's the end. And that's how big Nazareth was. The spring, the only spring, is not here. It's something like 1.2 kilometers to that side. And if you're already here for 1 hour, then thank you very much for being with me. If you want to support me, then yes, you can. At the description of that video, you can find buy me a coffee link or PayPal, and you can do that. It's if I'm here, it means that I'm in a way I'm working for you. Then thank you very much for being with me, and don't forget to bless that beautiful couple. I'm sure that the family will be happy to read it. Thank you very much for being with me in that 1 hour video.